On your new AK build, it's a good idea to go ahead and do a lapping job on the bolt lugs. This is going to ensure you've got the most consistency and the longest life out of your build. So the way to go about doing that is get yourself a bolt lapping tool. You're going to need a roughing and a finishing compound. So we're going to go ahead and get in there and do the bluing first and just see where we're at. All right, so we're going to take the steel blue and we'll just put a little bit on the bolt lugs. There's only two that contact. So this one, and then this upper one. And we'll just let that dry. The bolt itself, this one's already black, so it's gonna be kind of hard to see, but we'll put some blue on that as well. And we'll just let that dry for a minute. All right, so we'll get our trunnion fit up in the receiver. This should really be fit into the receiver, so that the rails are nice, but this is just demonstration purposes, so we're just gonna get her together. Clamp is always good to make sure she doesn't move. Okay, so now, kind of wanna be able to support the back end of this, and I've seen some guys, they'll cut off the front stem of their carrier, which is a pretty good idea, but if you don't already have the rear trunnion, you could just turn her around so that just this hole supporting it. So we want to be like this. And then get it in there. So we're not going to make it past the ejector rail, but we will at least have support on the back end of this. You can see it just can flop right in there. And now with the tool, you can go in. This contacts the face of the bolt, and it just keys in place. Okay. And now we'll just work it, and this bluing is gonna rub off, and then we'll see where we're at and like how long we think it's gonna take to lap her in. So this is a good time to just sit here with your coffee and kind of figure out what you're doing for the day. I want to work this for a minute or two. All right, so about after like a minute or two of working it on the blue, see this lower lug's kind of contacting the outer edge, and then very lightly, just a little bit on that upper ledge contacted. So we got some work to do. We're going to start out with the rough grit of the silicon carbide. Now, that doesn't look like much, but we're only taking tenths. This is not something where you want to be taking 10th thou or something. I mean, this is just tenths. You're just mating two precision machine surfaces. I have seen some crazy stuff with like fitting galils and weird stuff where like you have a threaded barrel and you can't, you either got to shim it. I've seen guys lap a lot on stuff like that, but ideally you only want to be playing with tenths. And never use like a diamond compound. Always use silicon carbide, something that you can get out of there entirely. Otherwise, this thing's gonna continue to lap. It's gonna continue to lap. It's gonna get impregnated with like the diamond, and it'll just continue to lap, and you'll be like, why did my headspace grow? All right, so we're getting the good stuff on there. And we'll go back. We'll do the same thing until we get some good contact patches. All right, so keeping good back pressure, just letting that grit work. All right, and after a few minutes with the roughing, you can see, if you look back on that lug, there is gritty marks towards the top and down to the middle. And then on the other lug, do my best here. Okay. A little less so, but getting there. So now might be the time to change over and just finish it up with the finer lapping compound. And it's a lot more obvious on the bolt itself. So you can see that one, quite contacting. This one to a lesser degree, maybe about 25-30% on this side, and more like 50%, 60% over here. You do want to get them as even as possible. So this one's going to need a little more work, but this is just kind of give you the general gist of it. It's really up to you, you know, how much work you want to put into these things, and how good a quality product you want to have when you're finished. It doesn't take that long, and once you've done it a few times, it's totally worthwhile. You'll feel much better about your build.